The athletes getting ready for the second of the three heats. We may as well call them semi-finals. As Tim was mentioning with the first, it's only the top two. Tapper and Charlton will be the favourites in this one. Tapper goes in 3, a small, explosive athlete. She's brilliant to watch. And so too is Devynne Charlton, the Bahamian, who, thanks to her lightning quick start at the World Indoors, got herself a silver there. And she made the World Championship final. She had a national record in that semi-final that Tim was talking about with 12.46. So the quality here coming from the Caribbean island. But the times to watch, Fury of South Africa with that 13.04 from the first of the semi-finals, with Mars of Northern Ireland just a shade outside that incredible 50-year-old national record from Mary Peters. She ran 13.37. So an opportunity for one or two of these other women here, if indeed it is the Caribbean island nation athletes who take the 2 automatic spots. And there is Devynne Charlton, 26 years of age now, 7th eventually in the final in Eugene, but a world indoor silver. And she got out the blocks beautifully in Belgrade. What a great start to a wonderful year of athletics that was in Serbia. Feels like it was a lifetime ago now, back in March. And there's Tapper, Pan American bronze, Olympic bronze, 7th in this final back in 2018, but she's a much better athlete than she was 4 years ago. And there's Mucci, 2nd from the left, the Australian Oceanian champion, former heptathlete, getting herself primed and pumped for this second semi-final. And it's likely to be a windy mark again. Here's the official confirmation of the lineup for the second heat. Top 2 advancing to the final in 2 days' time. Tapper in 3 and Charlton in 5 will be the favourites to take the automatic spots. Wind reading in the first of the heats was 2.5. Feels like it might be even breezier now. Athletes preparing for their introduction.
In lane number 2, a lifetime best of 13.
Well, Heather Payton representing Scotland, but she's a Birchfield Harrier. Massage therapist getting a great reception from the crowd, and the president of Birchfield Harriers, who's sitting alongside me and will no doubt chip in when the race is finished. And Megan Tapper, the Pan American bronze medalist 3 years ago, the Olympic bronze medalist, a small, compact, very fast, technically proficient hurdler. Watch for her in the early stages. Joythi Yadeji of India, PB in a national record this year. I wonder if she could use this inspirational setting to duck under 13 seconds for the first time. Now to Devynne Charlton, joint favourite for this one. That 12.46 PB and national record coming in the semis in Eugene. World indoor silver back in March. Celeste Mucci, the Oceanian champion, just off the podium on the Gold Coast in the heptathlon. And now deciding to fully focus on the sprint hurdles. 22 years of age, she's a young emerging talent. The Australian commentators in front of us getting very excited about her chances of making the final. And Noor Zaini, I remember watching her get a bronze in the SEA Games, the Southeast Asian Games, the sweltering conditions of Kuala Lumpur back in 2017. Big moment for her. She'll need a big PB to get in the shake-up for the final. Patton of Scotland in 2. We're not using lane 1. Tapper will be 2nd from the right, but in lane 3. The Jamaican. Yaraji of India in 4. Charlton, Bahamas in 5. Mucci, Australia 6. And Zaini of Singapore nearest the camera in 7. There's Tapper. She's in lane 3, but she'll be 2nd from the right-hand side with lane 1 not being used. Tapper in the yellow, Charlton in the turquoise. The 2 athletes from Jamaica and the Bahamas expected to take the automatic spots. But you never know. That's why we love watching live sport. You can't always predict. Well, Charlton, just as she did in the World Indoors, has got a great start, but Tapper now coming through, and Mucci running well for Australia in 3rd. Charlton just beginning to come back to Tapper, but it's Tapper who takes it, 12.67. But once again, agonisingly close to Bridget Foster-Hilton's Games record. It was +2 metres on the nose, so it would have counted as a Games record. Excellent running by the 2 Caribbean islanders. Just waiting for Mucci's confirmed time. I reckon she would have just been around about 13 seconds, maybe a shade under. Yep, 12.96. So Mucci of Australia is in pole position for one of the non-automatic spots, and in so doing with 12.96, good on her, she's equalled her PB.
Yeah, good running that in the second heat. Megan Tapper with that 12.68 heat win. Again, looking very, very good. As Rob said, the two favourites in this were Tapper and Charlton. Tapper going third in the semi-finals at those World Championships when she ran her PB of 12.52. Talked about the super times at those World Championships. There was also carnage in the early rounds as well. A couple of Americans not making it through. It really was a drama-filled event at those World Championships a couple of weeks ago. But Tapper there on the dip, just beating the athlete that finished 7th at those World Championships. Smaller in stature, has to raise her hips just a little bit to get over the barriers, but compact, fast, a little clip. But athletes are being sensible here, Rob, because they've got a couple of days before the final, so they're full out. This is their one opportunity to get the body going, get a good time on the clock, and that was a good run by the Jamaican.
Certainly was. Megan Tapper, the Olympic bronze medalist, with an excellent piece of qualification, 12.68, safely through to the final, along with the world indoor silver medalist, Devynne Charlton. Celeste Mucci equalling her PB. Looks like she's got a great chance of going through as one of the non-automatic qualifiers. Not the case for Yaraji, because Furi, from the first of the semis, occupies the second of those spots with 13.04. Look at the way Charlton gets out. You can tell why she's so proficient indoors over the 60. But Tapper, physically, she's tiny, Catherine, but in some ways, she's therefore tailor-made for the sprint hurdles.
Yeah, you can see it's a great side shot. She literally has to just lift her hips a couple of inches to get herself between her sprinting position between the barriers. And Charlton as well, technically pretty good with that right leg lead. The quick whip around of the trail leg to get it back into contact with the track so you can drive forward. Yeah, this is shaping up very nicely indeed, isn't it, this women's 100-metre hurdles?
Well, what I like about this event is we've now become fascinated from a global perspective. I mean, we marvel at the Americans, seemingly a never-ending conveyor belt of American women who can run 12.3, 12.4, 12.5. You know, making it onto the American team is almost impossible. Now we've got Amazon, the world record holder. You've got beautiful, flowing, technically proficient hurdlers from the Caribbean in the form of Tapper and Charlton from the Bahamas. So you've got African intrigue, Caribbean intrigue coming up good enough to challenge the Americans, who've still got one or two excellent performers, the likes of Kenny Harrison, the former world record holder. This is a great, great time for female sprint hurdling. We should really savour these races because we're watching 3 different continents able to perform at the peak of their powers.
What's fascinating about Megan Tapper there is she is a tiny character in stature. Great run from her, 12.68 with a legal win, by the way, for that win. But she has to really extend that lead leg over the barriers. She's so short, at around 5'2", that she has to adopt a genuine, very, very traditional hurdling technique, whereas the taller athletes, Kath Mary, can sort of skip over them with a bent lead leg. That's, you know, alluding back to that issue we were talking about earlier about whether the barriers in the women's 100-metre hurdles are high enough. I don't suppose they'll ever will get raised because it would destroy the history of the event. They've been that height for many, many years.
Yeah, it's an ongoing question, an ongoing debate. And whether it's 100-metre hurdles or 400-metre hurdles, height discussions aside, it's always about having a good, compact, tidy technique. Always the base along with some good speed. And talking of good speed, Tim, Nigeria have got big hopes for Toby Amusam in terms of picking up a gold medal here. Nigeria failed to win a medal in the women's 100 metres. They came 4th and 5th. There was no man in the men's 100-metre final either. So Toby Amusam, who will line up in this next race in lane number 3, is a big medal hope in the short sprint events here for Nigeria, and understandably so. The new world record holder, the new world champion, and the reigning champion as well, Tim. Let's not forget, she's coming here to defend her title. I remember working at the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast, and the disappointment for Australian fans when Sally Pearson withdrew from the Commonwealth Games 4 years ago. And Toby Amusam took advantage of that, and that was a real breakthrough for her, wasn't it? Winning this title back in 2018, and how she's grown. And she's got competition though, Michelle Jenneke there of Australia. But she really has grown in stature in this event, hasn't she, since she won the title in 2018?
Absolutely. Jenneke, by the way, in that same semi-final where Amazon set the world record in Eugene a couple of weeks back, running her fastest time, a personal best, having struggled to break 13 seconds all year, including the Australian season. She came out and ran 12.66 in that semi-final. Many reasons for people to look with a slight squint at the results of that semi-final, which Amazon set the world record. At the moment it stands, and rightly so. She has been in supreme form, and you look at her form throughout this season, Amazon, on the Diamond League circuit and elsewhere, and it's mainly a series of really good victories, very quick times. She won in Paris with a fabulously fast time into a headwind. So Amazon is a much respected high hurdler, and of course, as the world record holder, should cruise through from this heat very comfortably, Kath.
The women's 100-meter hurdles at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham delivered a thrilling performance, especially in the second semifinal, with strong winds swirling around Alexander Stadium. The atmosphere was electric as top athletes prepared to secure their places in the final. All eyes were on Jamaican star Megan Tapper and Bahamian standout Devynne Charlton, two of the most technically sound and explosive hurdlers in the field. Megan Tapper, an Olympic and Pan American bronze medalist, showed excellent form. Compact yet powerful, she executed her race with precision, using her efficient technique to glide over the hurdles. Despite her smaller stature, Tapper's sprinting rhythm and clean trail leg movement helped her cross the line in 12.68 seconds, just shy of the game's record. Charlton, known for her explosive starts, followed closely behind in 12.72. Australian Celeste Mucci impressed as well, finishing third in a personal best equaling 12.96, likely securing a non-automatic qualifying spot. This heat highlighted the growing global competitiveness in the women's hurdles, with talent emerging from the Caribbean, Australia, South Asia, and Africa. Tapper's performance reminded fans of her 12.52 personal best at the World Championships, while Charlton's consistency underscored her World Indoor silver medal earlier in the year. As the anticipation builds for the final, the depth of the field, from Tapper's smooth hurdling to Charlton's explosiveness, shows that this event is entering a golden era. With champions like Nigeria's Toby Amusam also in the mix, the women's 100-meter hurdles is shaping up to be one of the most exciting events on the global stage.